Yo, what up? This is the second episode of the Fear and Broathing podcast. It is myself, Shawn, and my friend Joe.
Hello, I am Joe.
We need to get that timing down, but that's fine.
Sorry, I was reading the synopsis of Baby Geniuses. It's kind of getting thrown off.
Yeah, so we watched Baby Geniuses, if you did not hear him, but we watched Baby Geniuses as we said we were going to on the last episode. I think we said it was like to be determined, and then we ended up watching Baby Geniuses, which is so stupid.
It's terrible. Fucking terrible.
I couldn't think of a better shitty movie to watch though, because it was almost like it blended multiple different movies that have already been. Well, was it done? Yeah, Jurassic Park was definitely done by this point, because this is 1999 and that was 91. So they okay. So the movie starts and it's showing off these kids and how highly intelligent they are. Because the plot of the movie is that these kids know a secret language called baby talk. Yeah, cringe as fuck.
Very.
It's like, oh, well, they know the secrets of the
Very.
universe. They have vast amounts of knowledge, and they're the only ones who can understand each other because they speak baby talk. They speak their own language, and we can't understand them. So we have a top scientist, and I use that loosely. And he's like, oh yeah, I can understand these babies, kind of like. And it comes to him in like brief, like it comes to him in like fragments where he's like, oh no, I understand these babies, and then he's just like the babies are like, and he's just like, what was that? And he's like, who fell off a bridge or some shit like that? He's like,
It'd always be something like a transdimensional g. It's just like what?
and if we hear that in the
Like,
real,
why didn't anyone think this guy was nuts? Everyone was like super supportive of him.
yeah, and they were like,
He was
oh, you're one of the smartest men in the world. It's like, no, he's not only are the children speaking nonsense, this guy is speaking nonsense because he's like, oh, these babies, they know vast amounts of things, and they are trying to tell us things that that we don't know, like the secrets of life and love and happiness and shit. And they're not, like, straight up, they're not. Like, they're talking about like fucking nothing. Like they're saying
Never
nothing.
ever talk about the secrets of the universe. They just comment on what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, and
It's really all they do.
and somehow they know kung fu. So yeah,
Count about.
that's another part of this movie where, and it's very early on, where we learn that this kid breaks out of this laboratory, and his name is Sly, I believe.
Sly.
Sylvester and his brother, who have never met, they're identical. They have a telepathic bond, which I think is also very silly, but it is a kids' movie. I get it, but it's haunting how strange this movie is, because I don't even know how the fuck they got Christopher Lloyd in this thing, but
Kathleen Turner.
yeah, Kathleen Turner, Christopher Lloyd, um,
I'm DeLuise.
Tom DeLuise.
Man, dude.
He was probably the best part of this movie, to be fair. Either that or either that or I know we jump around, but like the what's it called? The chemistry with that one lady and the guy who's always dressed up in a different outfit. What was his name? It was like
Dickie.
Yeah, Dickie, and she'd always just be like, and just like a very sassy black tone, because she is a black woman, but she's very funny. Like she might be the star of this movie, just because she's like,
Really, she carries the scenes that she's in.
she's just like, She's always roasting this kid. Like, he'll just walk in, he'll be wearing something, and he's only wearing these outfits to get fired from his job at this daycare that they're running. And it's ridiculous. So he's like dressed up like a punk, and he's got like all these like piercings and shit. And then she's like just roasting him about his appearance. And then the whole maybe you're why he wants to get fired.
Maybe.
You're breaking this kid's heart, lady. Like he's just trying to live, watch some children. You're roasting him 24/7. Yeah, I'd want to get fired, or I'd probably just quit if somebody was just like, "You're a real piece of work." You know that? Like, I,
Yeah.
I'd probably want to leave.
I would want to leave too.
But then also, I probably wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to stay at a place. I wouldn't want to work in a fucking daycare either, because like, I'm not taking care of other people's children. Fuck that. Fuck.
No, I can take care of my kid and my nephews, and I'll be perfectly content. But you bring in any other kid, and I'm need like a pack of cigarettes or something. I get stressed so quickly.
It's almost kind of like a racket that Doctor. What's his name in this movie? I don't even know. The doctor, the guy who has the kid Sly and all this stuff, raising the... Oh, no, Sly is the one that was... the brother in the movie. So the father, who is a top scientist, is... it's like a racket where he's like, all right, I'll take care of all your children as long as they're not 2 and older. I don't think he knows anything about the crossover thing yet, though. Or maybe he does.
I don't think so.
Maybe he does. I don't remember. But
for plot's sake, he probably does.
Yeah. So he's just like, yeah, I'll take care of your kids, and he's just got all these kids, and they're getting paid for it, which is cool. But he's also using these children to learn more about their language, and I think that's very weird. But
very.
So that's kind of the opening, but then there's also a moment in the opening where we are introduced to Sylvester, who is under 2 years old, and he is being raised at this laboratory. He is the other child, so he's got a twin brother that he doesn't know about, who is being raised in the real world, and not as a test tube baby, and he. And he is under the roof of the scientist guy. He is the father. So this kid escapes because he understands that they're trying to do these tests on these children. I think they're all trying to learn the same thing. How they use language to dictate, or not dictate, but like kind of determine how smart babies are. They're not.
Not at all.
So
if there was a list of dumb things on the planet, babies would be at the very top of that list.
Yeah. I've seen a baby.
The babies have a lot to learn.
I've seen babies stick things in their nose. Like I've also seen adults do it, but we're not going to talk about that. Anyway, so this kid gets out of this laboratory, and he's staging a breakout. This is like prison break shit. Like he's leaving. He's done. He wants out. He's leaving. A bunch of these like security guards. They look like a SWAT team basically, and this little baby is outsmarting them and using, I shit you not, kung fu. To thwart these guards at a top full-grown men at a top security laboratory. I don't know where the fuck they are. I don't know if it was ever said explicitly where they're located, but
I don't think so.
That doesn't matter. What matters is that these grown men, a group of them, are getting thwarted by a child under 2, and I think that is ridiculous. And I think that's
very.
I think that's what's supposed to make this movie like cute or like funny, but to me it's just it's just, I don't know, terrifying.
Cringy.
And cringy.
It's very cringy. I mean, how smart are these full-grown men? 'Cause I remember one scene specifically is the breakout scene. He's like it's immediately after he did all that kung fu and shit, and they take him back to his bed. They lock his door, and then they put this keypad on his door. They just put it on the door. It's not like hooked up to anything. It's just literally bolted to the door. What is that doing? That's just like you just basically taped it up there.
Yeah, there's this child's like MacGyvering some shit in the corner with like it's like nothing. It's like a little toy gun, and then he like plugs something into the back of it, and then now he can just disrupt any electrical device within the vicinity of him. Like that doesn't make any goddamn sense. And then
none.
And then, of course, like you were saying, this guard, he just puts this little device on the door. He doesn't do anything with it other than that. He just puts it on the door. It's like a keypad, almost. And then the kid just points the little MacGyver thing he did, like the thing he made, and then he just points it at it, clicks the trigger, and he immediately can get out of that door. And he also does it to the camera first, so nobody sees him escaping. But this kid has already shown that he is technologically sound, under 2 years old, and apparently he knows the secrets of the universe, so we'll strap in and get ready for all that shit.
And they never talk about the secrets of the universe, though. They just
Right.
they know it, but they don't want to tell anybody.
Exactly, because they're always talking to each other, and there's subtitles, so the audience is allowed in on their conversation, which I think would be funnier if they didn't. It's just like these children babbling nonsense, and then you have like the adults are like, "Oh, what are you trying to say to me today?" And they're just like shitting their pants and saying nothing. Like it's the closest to real life, but for some reason we get subtitles, and their movements are very much like babies. I don't know if you've ever seen a baby move, but it's that is probably the most comical part, is that their lips are moving, and they're like flailing their arms, and like they're just moving around like
Their gestures and faces never match what they're saying ever. They'll be like, what?
I was like, there's that one kid who's just like always angry facially, but he's just like, yeah,
you're talking about
what is this?
it's just Basil.
Basil.
Shawn had a grudge against Basil. He hated Basil with a passion. I get it. He was kind of like he was that character who was the straight and arrow. He was the voice of reason whenever Sly would do anything. I get the hate.
But he looked like he was CGI'd. He kind of looked. He kind of looked like that one. He kind of looked like an actual an actual human being version of the creepy baby they show off, like the giant creepy baby. Like that's what he looks like to me.
What was that baby's name again? It was Baby Boo or something like that.
Yeah, it was like Baby. What is it? Baby Boo or Baby? It wasn't Baby Bop. That was Barney and Friends. But what is? I can't find it. I'm looking. I'm trying to look it up, and I'm like.
Baby Bunting. What was his name? Baby Bunting.
Baby Bunting. Oh, jeez.
Stupid ass name, dude.
I mean, it fits whatever the fuck that was, because that's nightmare fuel if I've ever seen it.
It's horrifying.
And they put it in a kids movie, so they introduce this theme park for children and babies. I guess it's got like roller coasters It's like an indoor theme park called Joy World, and it it elicits no joy from me. So
Fear. Fear is what it elicits from me.
yeah, it's terrifying, especially since they're like, all right, well, this is the theme park, doesn't it look great? And they're like, yeah, this looks kind of cool. And then all of a sudden, they're like, and I want you to meet its mascot. And then in my head, I'm like, it's gonna be a fucking baby. And lo and behold, it's a goddamn baby. And he is so goddamn baby
It's a
Bunting.
6'5" baby.
Yeah, He's like 6'5". It was almost like they knew we watched Kazam before we watched Baby Geniuses, because they were like, we're gonna put something that's 6 foot, 7 foot tall, or 7 feet tall, but it's gonna be a baby. And you thought Shaq's acting was bad. Here's this giant baby, and
Baby want a hug.
yeah, oh god, yeah, I forgot
What I would say.
I forgot it talked. Oh
It's
no.
very creepy, very deep voice. And it would just say stuff like that, like "Baby want a hug."
Oh.
Very, very creepy.
Chills me to my core. and I
That's
and,
Sean's sleep paralysis demon.
and I am an
Baby
avid
Bunty.
I'm an avid horror movie fan, and I'll pretty much watch anything horror in the horror genre, and get some enjoyment out of it. Like, I even kind of like the Final Destination movies for what they are, found footage movies, stuff like that. But like this fucking baby, gave me more. There was more terror in this movie than anything I've watched in the 31 years I've been alive. Just because of
I don't blame you though.
Baby Bunting.
It's very. You can tell it's a guy in a costume, obviously. But it's supposed to be like this robot, so he's like moving all weird, and dude, that voice, his face too. His face is just so unnerving.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this movie that I don't remember, like, right off the top of my head. But I know that you said that it's kind of, like, seared into your brain now that you've seen it. But, like, honestly, I see this movie as, like, ultimately forgettable. Just, like, there's just moments in it that, like, captured my attention in the worst ways. So, obviously, the baby fucks me up. The other thing that like fucks me up is that they had this child jump into a cart full of dirty diapers.
Oh god. Oh, and then he kept saying, "Ew, diaper gravy."
Oh yeah.
Like, they kept using that same like, 3 or 4 times for the next like 5 scenes. Ew, diaper gravy. They just kept reusing it. It was so, and you could tell like they didn't try to like do another take or anything like that.
They
It was just
they just use the same
hopped in,
one.
and he was like over and over, and like other people would say it, but it'd be his voice still.
Yeah. It was like another child would say it, but it would still be it's still supposed to be or it was supposed to be the other baby, but it was still Sylvester's voice. Yeah, that's fucking stupid. I wonder if they made the child's name Sylvester because they were like, oh, it's gonna be a kids action movie, and who's been dominating action movies for the past decade? Sylvester Stallone. I wonder.
I was thinking Sylvester the cat.
Thuckatath. It's a terrible Sylvester.
I feel like they did so like. Movie's name is Baby Geniuses. We're geniuses. And then the main character, his name is Sylvester, but his short name is Sly. And then
Oh, and Wit.
other is Wit. It was like a play on Genius.
Right.
Genius is Sly. They're also witty. It's very tongue in cheek, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like this whole movie is pretty tongue in cheek, but So after he escapes, he starts hitting on babies on the street, and I think it's really funny that all these adults are just staring at him. And I think there's like a couple of people who are like, "Is that a fucking baby? Like, is that a fucking baby? Did you see that shit?"
Yeah, they're just like, he's just like running by these adults, and they're just like on their phone. Well, not on their phones. It's the '90s.
Yeah.
Just like doing whatever, like paying attention to this baby. Nowadays, I can understand. Like, you're on your phone walking down the street, you probably don't see everything that goes by. But in the '90s, you didn't really have anything besides like maybe a pager, and you're not staring at a pager.
Yeah, I think you would still notice that there's just a random baby without any adult supervision. And it looks like New York or something, where it's like you know it's gonna be dangerous at night to walk around. Obviously, not all of New York is like that, but it's like walking around at night by yourself is pretty scary, especially for a child. Like, there's predators fucking everywhere, man. Like, yeah,
he almost gets kidnapped by a bum, like a little bit. Before he like sticks soap in his mouth and then like something in his eye. I think it's like Febreze or some shit. But it's away, and he steals his clothes.
Oh yeah, and he's just walking around in these like homeless man clothes, and they're obviously gigantic. Yeah, yeah, they put a fucking cigar in this kid's mouth. What was the fascination with the '90s and putting cigars in everything? It was like you couldn't buy like a stuffed animal frog without this frog having this big ass fucking Cuban sticking out of his face. I remember that so distinctly too. That there's a lot of stuffed animals and action figures that I had growing up where they were smoking. And I know it was just advertisement, but like, you're selling to the wrong people here. And this is no different because this is a children's movie. And it's just like, are you trying to sell cigars? They're not going to be able to buy them? Just imagine parents going to gas stations like, yeah, I'd like a pack of smokes. It's not for me, it's for my kid.
It's for the kid. It's for the kid. Do you have any cotton candy flavored ones?
Oh fuck! So stupid.
I really hope that in some alternate reality, they are selling cigars to kids in the '90s. And then the ad says must be under parental supervision or some shit like that. It's like as a disclaimer before they sell it to them. Okay, you can buy the cigar, but you gotta have at least one adult with you.
Oh no. That's ridiculous. Why? It's like I would love for my child to get to know what cancer is like.
Yeah, start them while they're young, you know.
I mean, some children do already have it.
Yeah.
It's like that. That's like that Archer joke. It's like, yeah, well, kids get cancer, and they're just like, yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
And that's the joke. That's it. So, back to Baby Geniuses. How I can't remember how they get the switcheroo off. Like, don't they all take the kids to Joy World, and then
No, it's just Wit. They the mom takes Wit to the playground at the mall and Sly's there because he snuck in the store and camped out there overnight and somehow got into the same clothes as Wit without even knowing what Wit is wearing or who Wit is.
Right.
And then they switched inside a tunnel in the playground and ends up taking Sly home, and Wit goes back to the laboratory with all the freaky scientists.
Yeah. Okay, and the other kids who are like, we couldn't figure out how to do this because you're the smartest of all of us, and then Wit's like, no, I'm fucking not. I don't even know you guys.
I'm
I
dumb as shit.
I think it's really funny that we kind of got like one of those. It's kind of like a Parent Trap and like Freaky Friday, where you have like these like this mirror image of people. And it's, well, I guess Freaky Friday doesn't really count as that because they weren't identical or anything. Maybe Full House.
Oh yeah, it was the
But it's
it was,
like
go ahead. I was just trying to think of the synopsis to Freaky Friday.
ah, so it's like two
I
different.
got it now.
So it's like a two different scenes that were shot, or maybe it was the same scene flipped. I don't know, but it was basically, or maybe it was actually just two kids meeting, but not really meeting because they were really brothers. Because it was twins that they used.
Oh
But
yeah, are you talking about for Sly and Wit?
yeah,
It's actually, I'm looking at the cast. There was triplets.
oh, that's crazy.
Then a lot of these kids are twins.
Hmm.
Like Basil is a twin.
Oh God, there's two of
One of
them.
the other ones. I didn't want to tell you. I didn't want to ruin your day. But yeah, they had triplets, so I don't know where the third one was. It's
Yeah.
at home.
Just probably he was probably on set watching this and like, this is a terrible movie. I don't know what you guys are doing. Just this
Just use
fucking.
those two. Just use those two. I don't want to end this at all.
uh, but yeah, they get swapped at the park and the mall, and then see, this is where you're gonna have to come in and refresh me on some of the stuff that happens after that because I really did not retain that much of this movie.
To be fair, it kind of was a fever dream of a movie. Just a lot of things happening. Like, okay, so they get switched. She takes Sly back, and he's like all hopped up on sugar because I'm assuming he didn't have any sugar in the lab, and he's like doing backflips through the yard
Oh
and,
yeah. Oh,
and swinging on the rope. Like, and you
like
could tell it was a older kid, maybe like a shorter adult man doing the backflips, but it was just so out of pocket. There was no need for that.
it was supposed to showcase that he was like highly developed or something, but it was just it's just baffling to see that decision being made. It's just like, oh, it'd be really funny in this scene. It'd be really great for the kids to see if they saw this child do backflips like he was a gymnast, and then he's also swinging on this rope, and he's just aggressively just back and forth, and then like he's just like, oh, and this other child's gonna hop on this rope as well, and they're just gonna be swinging, and then it's just baffling that they made that decision because like what if somebody's child was like, oh, I can do a backflip, and then they just like broke their neck, like.
Honestly, yeah. Like, parents in this movie are so very dumb. Like, if I saw my not even 2-year-old doing backflips, I wouldn't be like, huh, I guess he's having a sugar rush. I'd be like, what the fuck is going on with my kid? Like, I don't think his bones are that developed to be doing backflips.
Like, hey, hold on.
They
Calm
didn't
down.
no second thought.
Take that child to. I said, take that child to like a talent show or something. And be like, look what he can fucking do. He's not even 2 yet.
He's backflipping like a full-grown man. Fucking like they don't second think anything. They just take it as is.
Yeah, face value. Just yeah, my kid does backflips, and they all know a secret language, and they all know the secrets to life, and he knows everything about the universe. And then once he hits 2, it's gone. Blink of an eye. Like when they
where was the development to this theory. Like, is there any like they just don't ever explain how they got to that theory? They just kind of assumed that all the secrets of the universe and everything.
Yeah, like they didn't like delve into that at all. They were just like, oh yeah, these babies, they use the special language. I'm speaking that language right now because I can't get the words out. But they're like, yeah, these children, they know the secrets of everything, and they just can't tell us because they speak their own special kind of language, and it's just gibberish to us, but they can understand it, and they know everything.
Everything.
Yeah, that's really the only definitive information we got from the adults in this movie is that baby's super smart, we super dumb. And then they kind of just like run with that the whole way. Like adults are dumb, even though these adults are top scientists, doing their job, which takes high intelligence. They're like, oh, but baby's smart, adult dumb. And it's really just a frustrating movie. I cringed so fucking much watching it, but
I have a really bad habit of showing Shawn movies that he just makes his brain melt. Like Greasy Strangler, Beauty Geniuses.
I think that's another reason why I wanted to do the randomizer idea. Speaking of, every time we pick a movie at the end of the show, it's going to be done with a randomizer, and we do have some rules to that. It will be, if we get a movie that is a sequel, we immediately just have to watch the first movie in it. I am also kind of dreading the randomizer idea because I know at some point we're going to get a Medea movie, and I'm going to kill myself. Like, probably
Be okay, Shawn. We got it packed.
If it's a Medea movie, that's the end of the podcast.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, and there's a lot of Medea movies too, so like it's very, very likely that we're gonna get at least one.
Yeah. And by the way, I joked about suicide, and that's because I've been clinically depressed since I was 13. It's okay. It's okay.
Same here. Same here. We can joke about that.
But yeah.
Sorry to anyone who struggles with that.
Yeah. Get help. And let's see, where were we at in the plot of the movie? Because now that we just kind of went off on a tangent.
They got switched, and Sly's at the house now.
Doing backflips and shit. That was what we were.
Does happen next?
Yeah, no idea. We could just talk about the shit that we actually do know about this movie, because there's parts of it where nothing mattered in this movie. It was just a bunch of children talking gibberish to each other, and then the adults going, "What?" Oh, there was that moment where Sly is in the living room and he's trying to warn the dad about what's happening at the lab, and he's just like, and he's just like, what did you say? No, shh. He's just like, shut the fuck up. I'm trying to listen to this baby right now. He doesn't say that, obviously paraphrase, but he's just like, shut the fuck up, everybody. Baby is talking, trying to understand it. And then he's just like, yeah? You telling me you have a...
Some of us have work to do here?
He's like, you telling me that they're doing stuff to babies at this lab? And then he's just like, dip, dip, blip, blip. And then he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, they're in trouble. For some reason, I have to go to this lab and see what's going on. And then that's another thing that we'll get to later, is that like they can, like, Sly can like hypnotize motherfuckers. Like, I don't understand what that. But he doesn't hypnotize the dad. He's just talking to him, and he's understanding bits and pieces of the dialogue, and he's just like, yeah, so this shit's happening, we need to stop it. And he's just like, okay. And then, yeah.
Exactly. Just like, yeah, okay, cool, yeah, that makes sense.
So there's like this party going on. I think it's like a birthday party. And then the two, so Dom DeLuise and the kid who keeps trying to get fired, they're in charge of these children. And we get some more back and forth before the black lady leaves. I can't remember her name in the movie.
Oh, what is it? Margot.
Margot. Yeah, so Margot, best character in the movie, by the way. Ruby Dee.
Very, yes.
Ruby Dee played Margot. I'm not really familiar with her at all, but she killed it in...
I think she's married to Billy. Billy Dee?
Huh.
His name?
Billy Dee Williams? No. Maybe not.
Oh, yeah, I forgot his last name's Williams.
Yeah,
God damn, she's been doing movies since 1946. Jesus Christ. Did not look that old in that movie.
She did not. But yeah, aged gracefully. And she killed it. She was really good. She was really good. She's the best part of Baby Geniuses.
The only good part.
Yeah. I don't know. Christopher Lloyd was
And Dom DeLuise.
And Dom DeLuise, yeah. Christopher Lloyd was just Christopher Lloyd. But
he was just being Lloyd.
Yeah, he was definitely villainous, as well as Kathleen Turner was villainous in this movie as well. They were cohorts.
She did a good job.
Yeah, she was. I feel like she was more menacing than Christopher Lloyd. Christopher Lloyd was kind of just like a bumbling idiot.
His name is Heap, so I mean, that kind of just comes with the territory.
But so this party's going off. We get some mouthiness from Ruby Dee as Margot to what's his face, Ice Dick, or whatever his name was.
Oh, Nose Pick.
Yeah, she keeps just calling him names.
But he was Nose Dick.
Nose Dick. which is I didn't think of this before whenever we were making the joke while we were watching the movie. That's a double entendre, because he's Nose Dick could be like nose for a dick, but could also be like, you know dick, you don't know shit because you're an idiot.
I didn't even think about that. I was thinking dick for a nose.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I like yours. I like yours way more.
Yeah, I didn't think about it because I was thinking nose for a dick, haha. We're children the whole time, but now I'm like, oh, he doesn't. He knows dick about anything. Like, he doesn't know a fucking thing. Yeah. Now that I thought about that,
Just
like.
It makes sense.
So
his name's Dickie, so
yeah, his name is Dickie. So they're at this birthday party, and Dom DeLuise is asleep on the couch. They decide to hypnotize Dom DeLuise and get him to drive all of the children, so basically kidnap the children, to this laboratory, because Dr. Kinder decides she's moving the research facility to Liechtenstein, and she's about to move Sly to Liechtenstein as well. So I don't know how they found this out. I can't remember how they found out that they were moving to Liechtenstein, but I remember them. I remember the children going
telepathically.
Ah, yes, telepathic bond. Duh.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know. He's talking all this baby goo goo gaga shit, and he's like, and then somehow the dad gets Liechtenstein out of it, which is what the fuck ever. But
it's basically just baga ba ba Liechtenstein, blah 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 blah. It's like Liechtenstein.
back to the hypnosis part, because that happens later. Back to the hypnosis part. While they're hypnotizing Dom DeLuise, Nose Dick, he doesn't. He's also being hypnotized at the same time, and while he's picking his nose, because they tell Dom DeLuise to pick his nose, he's picking his nose, and Margot walks in. And she's like, "This dumbass," and then she walks away, and then he hops away like a fucking rabbit. And I remember that distinctly because I was like, this is torture. Everything about this movie hurts my head. And that's... So, yeah, Dom DeLuise drives to Dr. Kinder's research facility, and then all hell starts breaking loose. They start fighting these people. It's basically a confrontation scene where the children are just at this research facility. The whole daycare, by the way, they didn't give a shit that they're putting kids in danger at all. Now, and I'm not talking about Dom DeLuise and I'm not talking about Dom DeLuise and Nose Dick. They were hypnotized the whole time. But Sly and Wit were like, yeah, these other babies, they're with us. And all the other kids were like, yeah, fuck it, let's go free our friend and some other babies we don't know. So
yeah, I'm not doing anything tonight. Yeah, that's fine. My schedule's all clear.
Even though
some random daycare.
Even though we have to get picked up by our parents at like 5:30, which should have caused more of a stir than it did in this movie. To be fair.
Yeah, they were just calling them. Complaining about their kid not being there.
Yeah, and there's...
valid. I probably would actually go to the daycare to see what's going on.
Yeah. It's like, oh, the bus driver that we sent out, he might have kidnapped your children. And then... but they don't... Obviously, they weren't going to say that because they didn't want their place getting shut down. But they were like, oh, no, I don't know what happened. But, come on, man, You guys are liable for that shit.
Oh, 100%. So all those kids in danger.
It's fucking ridiculous, dude.
They're trying to get more kids. I forgot that they did this randomly in the movie, and it had no context whatsoever. It never got brought up again. I don't know why it was in the movie, but the dad was talking about bringing 10 more kids in, get something. Like, it never gets brought up again. They don't get any more kids. It's just dead. I think it's just a place filler. Really. But, like, that part confused me the most out of all of this.
Yeah, they're just like, oh,
because nothing was said ever again.
If we get 10 more kids, then we can do something. I can't remember what it was, but they were like, oh, we could do this. And then... never brought up again. Yeah, they were just like managing their books or something, and they're just like, yeah. It's like, why are you bringing finances to this unless you're gonna have like a child sitting on your lap, like a child under 2, and they're just like balancing your checkbook? I think that would have been funny, but
yeah,
they don't even.
Been a lot better than that.
They don't even do that shit. So, whatever.
Kind of derailed us, but DeLuise kidnaps a bunch of kids.
Yeah, and then so Carrie is their actual daughter, and she's just like, oh, all these kids are in this research facility, so that's what's going to lead the parents to the research facility as well, because I guess Carrie got left behind, which is their daughter. And then all these other kids.
I forgot about that scene. Carrie trying to tell her dad who everyone was, and she's like grabbing his face.
Yeah.
There's that scene that you pointed out. She grabs, and then she lets go, and then they reversed it so she would grab again.
Yeah.
It just looks so bad.
Yeah. It's... Oh, my
God. She grabs his face, and she's like staring him dead in the eyes, trying to talk to him. about where all these kids are going, and that's whenever he's like, that's whenever she says Liechtenstein, and he's like
Right.
Liechtenstein, and then he does this thing where he falls back. He's like, oh, oh, and he's like wildered. Very, very weird actor. He's probably not bad, but in that movie, he was just kind of like odd.
I think that's what the
Yeah, odd
role.
man.
I think that's what the role called for. Peter McNichol
Probably.
and Dan. He was Dan Bobbins in the movie. Peter McNichol and Kim Cattrall as Robin Bobbins. Oh my god! I didn't realize her name was Robin Bobbins.
Rob. Me either. Robin Bobbins. Dan Bobbins.
Dom DeLuise played Lenny, who was a janitor and a sitter for Dan and Robin Bobbins. That might be the best character name in any movie ever made is Robin Bobbins.
I think so. I feel like they just kind of threw in the towel when it came to names.
But,
Like Robin Bobbins, Dan Bobbins, Heap, Lenny, Dickie.
yeah,
They did not give a shit.
I wonder if they named the candy.
His name is Doobie.
Doobie.
Doobie. D-U-B-Y. Doobie. What?
Isn't that like the kid that they're like shut up, Doobie, or whatever the fuck? I don't remember what.
I think so. It doesn't have a picture. yeah, me too. Shut up, Doobie.
Like Doobie's a moron. He's the only one of all these super intelligent children that's like not all there.
He's a normal kid, kind of there because parents drops him off, and they just got to pick him up.
My God. So they go to this they go to the research facility. The kids are already in action mode. They're like doing like defense mechanisms and protocols and shit. They're like run number two, or some shit like that. And they're just like swinging off of shit and knocking people out. And like,
Yeah.
oh my God, like, and it's children versus adults. I'm pretty sure some of these adults have guns, right? Like, I wasn't imagining that they have weapons and shit.
Pretty sure they do. I don't remember. I just remember Azel swinging on that rope, like knocking a few of them out.
Yeah. Well,
And there's Sly in the control room.
Yeah, and then there were, I think it was Wit. Was it Wit or Sly in the control room? Oh no, it was Sly because Wit was downstairs whooping ass. And then Sly ends up releasing Baby Bundles or whatever the fuck his name was. And then that Baby Bunting, and then he just like starts like smashing through these fucking grown ass men before he short circuits. I don't know, man.
Oh yeah, he does short circuit, doesn't he?
Yeah,
I couldn't remember what happened to that baby.
yeah, he like short circuits.
Just remember it
and
fighting, and then get to the roof. The helicopter is, and then there's like a helicopter fight. Not like a helicopter fight, but there's a fight on the helipad.
It's just like a baby that's driving this helicopter or flying this helicopter.
You know it would be too. It'd be Sly and Wit, just like just zooming,
shooting like guns from the helicopter to shoot down Dr. Kinder. But
Basil's like on the minigun on the side, just taking out people.
Isn't there like a scene where they have one of the babies, or no, the dad is hanging on to the doctor's leg, and she's on the ladder of the helicopter, and she kicks him, and then he falls down from the ladder onto the roof, and then the mom grabs her and pulls her down, and then she's like hesitating to punch her until she like figures out all the shit that she's done, and then she's just like, "Yeah, fuck it," and she just hits her.
Yeah, she turns out not to be her real aunt.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
See.
Crazy twist. Be sure Baby Genius is all that bad? I mean, it does have a plot twist.
That doesn't mean anything. She's just like, yeah, oh, by the way, we're not related. And then she's just like, oh, okay. right the fucking...
And then she rejects her. But then after that, the movie ends. That gets taken away. Elena, the lead villainous scientist, is taken away. So does Heap, and all the babies come back to. Well, I don't know if all the babies did, because they didn't really explain that either. I know that Sly, Wit, and Carrie all came back to the daycare, and the dad's like waking up and he has like a bump on his head. So they're trying to talk to the kids, but they all crossed over. Oh yeah, they all cross over on the roof too. Like Sly and Wit both cross over at the same time, and Carrie's like on the verge of it. But
Yeah.
they never explained what happened to the kids at that facility.
Yeah. I think they may have adopted all of them or something, because they're having they're having like a little birthday party at the end, and Dan is still talking to Carrie like, "Oh, what's the secrets of the universe?" And then she starts to cross over, but the twins have already crossed over because they did cross over at the end of the movie on the roof. But the very end of the movie, they're at this birthday party at their house, and there's just a bunch of kids there. And I think that's where they got the other, like, 10 kids that they were looking for. Because there's, like...
Thanks.
Because it would make sense to wrap it up that way, where there's just a bunch of kids that they got from the lab. And maybe they're giving them away, like, free kittens or something. They're just like, hey, we got all these... we got all these stray babies. So...
Just in a cardboard box. Free babies on it.
It's like, if you want to come pick up a baby, they're free.
It's just out on the sidewalk. Just all night and day, they're just out there. Every once in a while, they come out and just throw them some kibble. Here you go.
Be fun. This is probably a really bad joke, but like, I don't see it as offensive. But if they were just all like, "Oh, gross! It's only white ones." It's like
Jesus Christ.
It's like the reverse of when people go to a shelter or a pound or something. They're like, "Do you have anything other than black cats?" And it's just like, but they only have white babies, so they're just like,
anything besides white babies. Oh look, babies. Oh, they're all white. They just walk away.
Oh, never mind, honey. They're all white babies. You know what they say about white babies?
You know, you actually did bring up a pretty interesting thing. Margot is the only person of color in that entire movie.
Dom DeLuise.
Really?
Oh, is Dom DeLuise? Dom DeLuise, is he white? I think so.
I thought he was just Italian.
Yeah, he is Italian. For some reason, I always heard Dom DeLuise and thought that he was like, not white.
Yeah,
I didn't
think
know.
so too.
I didn't know what race I thought he was, but I didn't know that he was just a white guy. But
I could see him like name kind of Hispanic. That's what I thought he was.
Yeah.
No, he's just some Italian. He born in Brooklyn. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the only person of color in the entire movie. I didn't really think about that until now.
Happy the 90s.
Yeah. really do be the 90s. On a lighter note, the taglines for this movie say, think innocent, think helpless, think again. That's our history.
Naps our history.
Let's see what, okay, so the budget was $12 million
Yeah.
and it made 27 million. Jesus, really?
Yeah. It definitely did well. I don't know how.
Yeah. I
Thir-
really wish it did, but it did.
It made 36.5 million in the box office, so yeah, 27. Wait, doesn't make sense. It made 36 million and the budget was 12. I'm not good at math, so calculator. All right, 36.5 million minus 12 million. Yeah, they made 11,000. I think I may have done that wrong. Oh, I only put 3.65. Hold on. Yep, see, bad at math even with a calculator. 0.5, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Maybe if I just put... Yeah, because it just does that. Because with the 0.5, it just cuts out all the zeros. Yeah, alright. 36 million. Oh, wait.
Million.
Yeah. 36 million minus 12 million.
5 million on opening weekend, U.S. and Canada.
$24 million profit off of this goddamn movie.
God, why?
I'm so
I mean,
upset.
I watched it a lot as a kid.
Well, I mean, if you buy it and you just own it, they're not making profit every time you watch it. But, like,
It's true.
it's not like you went to the theaters a bunch of times and paid that money to see Baby Geniuses multiple times. But they made... that's a dickload of money. Like, that's another Baby Geniuses movie, which we could eventually get into based on the randomizer, because there is a second Baby Genius movie.
There's a third, there's a fourth, there's a fifth.
Oh.
I'm looking at all of them right now. There's Baby Geniuses and the Treasures of Egypt. Baby Geniuses and the Space Baby.
Oh.
Baby Geniuses BSI. Baby Squad Investigations. Jeez. They're like Air Bud movies. They just don't stop making them.
And we, thanks to the randomizer, we may eventually watch some Air Bud movies as well.
No. Oh, Air Bud will be way better than Baby Geniuses.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, something we never talked about was the very, very uncomfortable scenes where the babies are making like grown-up sexual jokes to each other. That was not needed at all. That made me so fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Every time they did it. They did it multiple times, too.
Who is this? Who is this written by? Bob Clark and Greg
Stephen
Michael.
Paul.
Story by Stephen Paul, Bob Clark, Francisca Matos, Robert Grasmere. It was directed by Bob Clark. I would not be surprised if Bob Clark is a pedophile at this point. Let's see.
Honestly, I wouldn't either. What did he do?
Oh, he died.
He did A Christmas Story?
Oh, shit.
Made a movie called Blonde and Blonder. Like a Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, he did. And he also did Black Christmas. What the fuck?
Black Christmas?
Yeah, it's like it's a horror movie centered around Christmas. It's like a slasher from 1974. It has a bunch of remakes, but I didn't know that Bob Clark... Huh. So he did A Christmas Story and he did Black Christmas. That is mind-boggling. Huh. But he also did Baby Geniuses, and that is something I cannot forgive.
Jesus.
He
He
was.
did Blonde and Blonder as well, and I'm looking at the trailer right now, and just looks, god damn, terrible.
I really liked Black Christmas a lot. I think he did a really good
I
job
don't
with
think I've
that.
ever heard of that.
He also was an
Oh,
executive.
that's why this movie sucks.
He was also
Pamela Anderson in it. That's why it sucks.
what movie?
Blonde and Blonder.
Oh my god! But
You're
yeah,
saying?
the two movies that I really give a shit about on this list that he's done is Black Christmas and A Christmas Story. Everything else can kind of go fuck off. The the 2006 remake of Black Christmas, he was just an executive producer for it. So, but that was
Okay.
his original IP was Black Christmas, I believe. Written by Roy Moore, but directed and produced by Bob Clark. But yeah, so 2006 there was a remake of Black Christmas, and it really wasn't bad. The only Black Christmas remake that sucks is the 20. I want to say it was like 2019, and it was it just didn't know what it wanted to be, and it just isn't great. But you know, dims are the breaks.
Yeah, I think we'll have to check out Black Christmas sometime.
Yeah, it's a
The original one.
yeah.
At least.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. Whenever I watched it, and it's a '70s horror, so horror movies were obviously different back then than what they are now. But I like the evolution of what horror has become. But all in all, this was us talking about Baby Geniuses after all. So what is your initial thought about the entirety of Baby Geniuses?
I wanted a lobotomy. It was so bad.
If I could get
Like,
lobotomized just
not
to
even like
forget,
so bad it's good.
if I can just get lobotomized just to forget about Baby Geniuses and that's it, I think it would be worth it. But I also just think it would be worth it just to clear my entire memory so that I can start from scratch having no knowledge of this movie existing ever.
Yes, me too. Except we would probably run into that. Probably run into the problem of seeing Baby Geniuses and being like, "What's this movie? It looks stupid. I should probably watch it. Let's check it out." Just perpetually watching this movie.
There's just somebody always
Irritated.
as you get out of the hospital for your multiple lobotomies that you're about to have throughout the rest of your life. And they're just like,
Yeah.
there's just always one guy that's waiting for you to come out, and he's like, "Oh, you should check out this movie. It's great." And it's Baby Geniuses. So every time you get out, that's the only thing that you remember. Like, Baby Geniuses is the only constant in your life. Can you imagine?
I would be very depressed.
Somebody write that
I would-
movie.
Yeah. The Baby Genius Paradox.
It's like the Cloverfield paradox, but better.
Exactly. As long as Bob Clark doesn't write it, then we'll be fine.
I mean, he's dead, so
Oh, then yeah, we're golden.
we're in the clear.
We're in the clear.
Yeah, there's-
What was your
yeah.
thoughts on it?
Oh fuck, man. It was. It wasn't boring. I'll give it that. It was. It was definitely. It was an interesting watch. It is a. It's a spectacle. It's a marvel from the '90s. I wish I could forget about that baby. The
Oh, God.
baby bunting, and I wish I could forget about Basil. I, I will never forgive the mother of the child that is Basil. If they
She
ever
didn't
listen,
make one; she made two.
yeah, she made two of those things. Like I will never forgive the parents of that child for bringing that life into this world. And if they ever listen to a podcast about baby geniuses and they stumble upon this one, I don't apologize, and I won't. You should be ashamed. And overall,
Her mask,
I
please.
I give this movie a very low rating of 1.5 out of 10.
I feel you on that.
The
1.5 baby buntings.
1.5 baby buntings, 1.5 Basils.
Yeah. Out of 10.
I give
It
it
was
I give
so
it
bad.
two Basils. I want to punt off a bridge.
uh,
Because I don't know who is
this is
scarier. I don't know who is scarier, Baby Bunting or Basil.
personally for me, baby bunting was way. It was just 6'5" of no. I don't want any more of this.
Do you want to load up the randomizer, or do you want me to just do it?
Um, I've got do it for it.
Let me get the streaming services in here. I should have just had it loaded. I think I do have it loaded up, actually. I do. Okay. So this should be... Yep, alright. So once we click this button, in 3, 2, 1... The Guilty. Looks like it's starring Jake Gyllenhaal. It is on Netflix. It was
Jake Jiggleballs?
Jake Jiggleballs. The movie is called The Guilty. So if you are listening and watching along with these movies, it is on Netflix. So you won't have to pay for anything if you have a Netflix subscription. The movie is called The Guilty. It was released in 2021. Stars Jake Gyllenhaal and Ethan Hawke and Peter Sarsgaard. Paul Dano is in it. That is one of my favorite, if not my favorite actor of all time. I do love Paul Dano, so I am actually pretty stoked to see this. Bill Burr is also in this movie. And here is the synopsis for if you think you'll be interested in this, check it out before you listen. So, call operator Joe Baylor tries to save a caller in grave danger, but he soon discovers that nothing is as it seems, and facing the truth is the only way out. So, yeah, I guess we're gonna watch The Guilty next, and
We're watching The Maverick next.
oh, right, we are. Well, we could say we're watching The Guilty. Because we were supposed to do Maverick. I forgot all about that. We'll edit this out. Hold on. Let's restart. All right, we'll even do the randomizer again. We don't have to watch The Guilty, so that way it's more. All right, we're doing the randomizer, and it is Maverick from 1994. And now we'll probably keep all of this in because that was a blunder, and we'll just explain it away. Basically, we're doing a randomizer, and we have already randomized Maverick to be. That was my blunder. That was my fault. We are doing these in advance, so we are watching Maverick, and that will be the next episode. And that is Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster. It's a comedy western about card sharks and con men. And apparently they lock horns, and it was made in 1994. So strap in for that. We're gonna watch a comedy western, and we're gonna talk about it.
Hell yeah! I mean, we can still do The Guilty next.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
That does sound really good. I do like that.
So we do have our next two movies picked out that we're gonna talk about, and then it'll be Maverick and then The Guilty. That way, you guys. We'll know a couple episodes in advance. We won't always do that though. This one was just a us introducing the randomizer and us picking out a couple movies to watch for the next couple episodes. Now every single one of them will be randomized on here, and then we'll watch it. So that way you guys will know what we're watching, so you guys can check it out too if you guys want to. Because obviously there are spoilers for the movies we are covering. And if you guys are listening, we appreciate it. And if you want to have, if you got any closing, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know.
Sentiments?
Yes.
Is that the right word?
I don't know. If you got any closing words?
Hope you guys enjoy. As much as we've enjoyed making this and talking shit about movies. We're not always going to be talking shit about movies. We'll just talk about movies, even if they're good, bad, or somewhere in the middle. But I hope you guys enjoy it. To you, Shawn, yourself.
All right, deuces, everybody. Hope you guys had a good time. I know we did, because this movie was fucking stupid. All right. We're going to go watch Maverick. Salute. I don't know if that's the right word. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.